probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. What exactly is this? Yeah, but you built it. I'm just looking at it. What exactly is it?
This is a near replica of Evel Knievel's Sky Cycle that we built to recreate the coolest stunt in American history.
So near exact replica. What isn't exactly?
The only thing we changed, well, the parachute is what failed. And my whole point in this is to prove that my dad's rocket would have worked. Had he had the ability to make one more test, they would have figured out, what deployed the parachute prematurely, and the rest of the rocket would have worked fine. The only other thing we changed is we added a little bit of structure in the nose for safety. This is kind of like a hybrid between a World War II aircraft and a dragster, because it's got chromoly tubing in the front, but it's all made with surplus aircraft parts.
So what was the hardest part about building this? What was the hardest part that you're like, because I don't imagine you go get parts off the shelf somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So what was the hardest thing for you to either find or manufacture?
Back in the day, these parts were kind of a dime a dozen. They were surplus 50s era aircraft. This is actually the fuel tank from a Grumman Albatross, and then the engine is a breathing oxygen tank from a B-50 bomber. So those are the two main parts put together with all kinds of little custom bits and pieces. And
so who on earth would have thought that a breathing tank would make a good rocket motor?
My dad.
So he kind of thinks outside of the box is what he does.
He grew up in the Depression, and he had that mentality that, you don't throw anything away, you save money wherever possible, and he believed that our destiny was in space, and to get to space, we would need low-cost access to space. So everything in his life was done with cost in mind. And to build, like this nose cone here, if you were to build this custom, it would cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. I think we paid $1,500 for all the entire fuselage for 2 rockets.
So low cost
And reusable.
Well, plus, I mean, if you had to pay somebody to build this, though, because you built it yourself,
yeah.
What do you think if some guy come up and said, "Hey, Scott, I want you to build one of them rockets"? What do you think that would cost me?
Well, Eddie Braun, our pilot, is the one who financed most of this, and we got about $1.5 million into it. But there's a lot of other costs. Hardware is kind of not the major cost. You've got, we built a ramp. There was all kinds of other business costs. So hard costs wasn't terribly expensive, but it was a lot of labor and a lot of love.
So as far as performance goes, when this leaves the ramp, right at the end of the ramp, how fast is it going?
It's brutally fast. It's 0 to 430 miles an hour in under 5 seconds. It'll go 2,200 feet high and 3/4 of a mile downrange. So it's faster than a top fuel dragster in the air.
Running on water.
Yeah.
Essentially just water.
It's superheated water. It's 500 degrees at 500 psi roughly, and it's heated with a propane boiler that was actually a modified steam cleaner.
So everything. You took a hot seat and made it.
Basically, yeah. It's not that company, but Spartan Manufacturing was the only steam cleaner company we found that would modify their existing hardware to our specs.
Besides, because you mentioned that your dad built the rocket and you wanted to prove that it worked.
Yeah, that's my main focus.
Your main focus. But what do you think? What else would you like to see come of building this rocket and launching it?
Well, one thing Evel Knievel did for us is he was this superhero, and he made us believe we could do anything. He kept jumping farther and farther, and he had a great message. He would come out and say, kids, don't do drugs, and stay in school, and listen to your parents, and all good things like that. And America is sort of in the same place now as we were in the early 70s. In the early 70s, you had Vietnam going on, you had women's rights, you had this sort of general malaise with the country. We didn't know what direction we were going in, and I kind of feel that way now. I feel like America needs something to show that we're cool, we're cutting edge, we're fun, we're different,
Resourceful.
absolutely,
Extremely, yeah.
and it's just a cool thing to do. And I would love to inspire this new generation to, in the same way we were inspired by Evel Knievel, to believe that. I don't know if the new generation believes that they can do anything. And we're America. America's different. It's special, and we can do stuff like this, and it's cool.
The most importantly, it is cool. There's nothing cooler than Evel Knievel ever.
Yeah, a red, white, and blue rocket firing across a canyon. Some people don't get it,
That's
but
patriotic right there, all in one.
you know, guys like you and me, our age, we get it, and kids get it. Every little kid I've showed this rocket to, they get it. It's the, kind of the 30-year-old generation that they grew up with extreme sports, and they're kind of jaded, like,
That's
but
exactly what I was going to say. They've seen a guy take a motorbike and do 2 backflips on it and drive away. They're like, big deal, the guy crashed. Who can't do that?
rocket, big deal, who cares? Yeah, you sit in this thing at 430 miles an hour at, 6 Gs and tell me it's nothing. No, it's absolutely something. And it brings us back. As we get older, I think we long for a time when, before the divorces and the mortgages and all the taxes and stress of life, to when we were just kids.
And the worst thing was taking the garbage out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Heaven forbid. I don't think do kids now take out the garbage anymore?
I'm a mean dad, so I make mine.
Sure. Me too. Mine are all grown now, though. But yeah, I think that we need this. We need this inspiration. Kids need to be taught that they can do anything. Otherwise, what do we teach them? You can't do anything? I don't want my kids believing that there are some things they can't do.
Well, I'm really excited for it, and we're just waiting now. It's just a waiting game, right?
Yeah, we're end of summer, I think, is we've picked a date tentatively, and we're just fleshing out the details to make sure that we can launch from that date. And people have asked me, when is it going to launch? When is it going to launch?
I'm guilty of that myself.
I don't blame you. It's been a long time, and we've been kind of in the limelight for like 2 years now. So I get that, but we didn't want to announce a date and miss it. When we announce that date, we're going on that date, and you can take that to the bank. It's going to be this summer. The rocket's ready. The ramp's ready. We'll go take a look at that in a couple minutes, and we're all excited.
Right on. Me too.